we are back in Dinkytown, and it is a real pleasure to be here. I'm with an amazing saxophone player. So it's a pleasure to be with you. You are the maestro on the tenor saxophone.
You got my press release.
Well, you know what? I've heard so much about you, Eric, and I've heard your wonderful music, but I've never had a chance to find out about your music past. Some people may think it began when you started playing with Prince, and we know that that's never the truth.
Yeah.
So tell me about how is it that your experience is so vast on the saxophone, your understanding of the different genres from funk to jazz to bebop. You seem to be able to play it all.
My first hero was the American Renaissance man of music, and that was Ray Charles. Ray Charles broke so many barriers and combined so much of the vocabulary of the music that went before him, from gospel to jazz to blues to rock.
Yes.
And he distilled it in such a way that he contributed probably as much to the vocabulary of American music post-World War II as probably anyone else.
I agree.
I would say that if you're looking at from a deductive standpoint, if you were to go back in time and say, what if this artist didn't exist? What if this artist didn't exist? How different would music be today? And you can say that about a lot of different people, but I think if you removed Ray Charles from the picture, it would be this most significant difference.
I totally agree.
There isn't anyone who plays American pop music, particularly R&B based music, as far as just the vocabulary of how to, the instruction book. If you have a cookbook of this music and you get it out and you say, well, here's the Ray Charles, so much of the vocabulary is from him. So when I was 8 or 9 years old and already had been listening to some pop music before that, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, Sam Cooke. But when Ray Charles, when I discovered Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin said once, I discovered Ray Charles. That's what captured my imagination to the extent that it made me want to play music. No matter how gifted a musician you are, if you're not playing the music that's inside, and if it's music that you look down on, it's not going to work.
That's true.
Now, if you really want to look at the beginning of funk, that's it. Get up! Because what James Brown basically did, music is every kind of music is, they're the fundamental elements. There's rhythm, there's harmony, there's melody, and then there's the underlying structure. Not only to differentiate one song from another, but the structure that might differentiate a genre of music. What James was doing, and understand that he wasn't coming to his band members and saying, well, this is what we're going to do. What we're going to, change this or whatever. It was just that he was hearing something no one else was hearing. And what funk basically was doing was taking all of the elements of the music, the rhythm, the melody, and the harmony, and distilling it to its rhythmic fundamentals. Every melody has a harmonic implication and a rhythmic implication.
That's right.
Every harmony has a melodic implication.
Yes.
What we don't think of as often is that rhythm can have a melodic and harmonic distinction. We don't necessarily think of it as often that way, but it does.
It does, absolutely.
Now the horns are going to be as important to the groove as the drums. So the horns now are taking on a rhythmic aspect to the degree that horns in music had never done. Guitars that were basically the primary harmonic instrument. I said, well, what key is it in? Well, the guitar's playing like a D7th chord. Well, the pattern of what the guitars were doing and how they were muting the strings in order to get almost a much more rhythmic feel was basically saying the rhythm of the guitar is now going to be as essential as the drums.
Now you're talking about funk.
The bass was probably the most significant change. But now the bass, rather than just playing the roots of the chords, was now playing a part, a written part that was going to be essential for everything else to hang on. And when you hear Maceo in his first recordings with James, it was more about space. Would do something like this. He'd like.
Oh, yeah, that.
20 years later, when I had the opportunity to walk into a studio with Prince, I knew how to do this. And in the most recent, if you want to hear me, the most recent are the group I'm involved with now, F Deluxe. We're all Minneapolis guys, and we play all over the world.
And then I will certainly do that. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
What a pleasure.